you all set? Technicians, mic, camera. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone. Before proceeding, let us pray in our respective places. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Santana, Deputy Government Spokesperson, deputizing the Gambia Government Spokesperson. The first edition of this Network Information Media and Broadcasting, as we say NIPS, a new acronym, Madam Amindia, DDF, NIPS, Executive Product, we have DGRPS, Condora Blessing, Deputy DG Veteran, Momodu, welcome, Member of Mr. Sedi Khan, MD, General Manager of Digital Gambia Limited, and Mr. Maurice Cisse, MD of Gambia Printing Publication Corporation.
Yeah, he says.
Just like to pay tribute, we learn with sadness the passing of a good friend of the Gambia, Mr. Boris Devani. Those who were followed during the Nova Scotia Gambia Association, St. Mary University Extension Program, the Peer Health Program, and all those DTGI and USAID activities, we remember that, Boris Devani was a friend of the Gambia. He did a lot. Most of us are beneficiaries of his contributions towards social justice and international understanding, and also adding value to what we have today as higher education. So therefore, as the government of the Gambia, we express our sincere sympathy and commiserate with the Devani family in Canada. His interment is expected for the 25th of January. And his legacy lives on in the Gambia, and I'm sure the beneficiaries of Mr. Devani's work will do a befitting memorial to ensure that his legacy remains alive. Thank you. On that note, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting, Dr. Ibrahim Cisse, to give us my apologies, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, Dr. Ismail Cisse. I repeat, Dr. Ismail Cisse, apologies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman Professor Sankano. I'm not sure which is which, but thank you very much, and thank you. We want to thank your office for the support you've been done in the ministry since we started this initiative. It's the Monday press conferences. Good morning, everyone. Senior government officials from the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, officials from the Gambia Radio and Television Services, the Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation here also, and also GTL, members of the press also. This is going to be our first press conference for 2025. As usual, we organize a monthly press conference in addition to the Mansakunda program, and the press conference is to give the press the opportunity to interface with government, to ask relevant questions. We've been doing very well with that, and we thank the press for the support and the collaboration. We've always argued that the media is a critical partner to government, but it is also the conduit between the government and the population. And as a ministry, the information, our mandate is to ensure that we provide the public with relevant, timely, accurate, and authentic information. This is important because we are trying to consolidate our democracy. And one of the key principles in this drive is to ensure accountability and transparency. Government must be accountable to the people because government is here to serve the public using public funds, having a mandate from the public to govern and to deliver on policies. So therefore, government must be accountable to the public. The public must know periodically what the government is doing for them. What are government's plans, what are our projects. But the government also must know what the public is thinking, what are their aspirations, what are their challenges, what are their needs. This is important. And this is where the vital role of the ministry comes into play, where we are creating that avenue where that interface can happen between the public and the government. Not only in a reactive manner where we just react to requests for information, but in a proactive manner, we call proactive disclosure. That is, we don't have to wait for the public to ask for information that concerns them. But we need to be constantly giving out information to the public so they know exactly what the government is doing. Now, this is transparency also. Now, governments derive their legitimacy from being transparent to the public and being accountable to the public. So the public knows what we are doing. So we know what also the public is thinking and what their aspirations are. That is why we organize these press conferences periodically, every once every month, to bring the government to interface with the media so they can now give an account of their achievements, but also their vision in that particular sector, and give the media the chance to ask relevant questions. But what does the media do with these answers when they receive it? Do they take it home and consume it by themselves? No. What do? They share it, they disseminate it to the public. We cannot invite every Gambian to come to this forum and ask relevant questions. But the media comes on your behalf and asks questions for you. Because you deal with the population, you know what the population are asking. You bring those questions to government, you receive answers, and you go back and share that information using various media. Previously, before the advent of new technologies, it was mostly radio and perhaps TV. Some of us who were young, we remember we had only one TV at home. There was only one channel we could watch, that is RTS. At 12 o'clock, they will close. We'll bring a cloth and cover the TV and put a flower on top of it until the following day again at 6 o'clock when they open. But now times have changed. And before, when you were even watching TV, you have to go to the back and turn the antenna so you can get it right. And someone will say, I can't tell you. But now you have thousands of channels you can stream live. That shows how times have changed. So use different media to disseminate information, not only now radio or newspapers, but now we have TikTok, Facebook, different media. So there is information overflow. So governments always must also adapt to these two changes. That is why we are doing everything possible as a ministry to ensure that we don't only disseminate information, but we're targeted in a manner in which it reaches to every segment of society. Not everybody listens to the radio, not everybody reads newspapers. There are those who only derive their information from social media. If you focus on radio, TV dissemination, you tend to disenfranchise a large segment of society from accessing information. And constitutionally, access to information is a right. That is why the government passed the Access to Information Act to ensure that government officials who are custodians of public information are willing and ready to give that information to the public when they demand it. Now, today's press conference is an unusual one. Why? Because normally we will all call other sectors to come. But today the ministry itself, we are starting with the ministry itself. We are going to be accountable to the people. Today's press conference is the Ministry of Information. And the people you see here, seated here today, these are agencies under the ministry or department. No, not, is it departments, huh? Under the ministry. This is the Digital Gambia Limited, whose mandate is to ensure and implement our DTT transition, that is Digital Terrestrial Transition. We have the Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation, and we have the Gambia Radio and Television Service. These are the departments under the Ministry of Information in the sector. So we are starting with ourselves today. They say charity begins at home. So what I will do today is I will give you an update of the ministry's achievements in 2024 and give you what are our priorities for 2025. Then we'll call DGL to do the same thing, and then DPPC, and then DRTS, and we'll now open the floor to the media, to the journalists to ask relevant questions. Now, one of the key achievements in 2024, as part of our mandate to ensure proactive disclosure and to popularize government agenda, we initiated a program called Ministerial Mansakunda. It's a ministerial town hall. It's a bi-weekly one where every 2 weeks we will call a sector minister and his entire sector heads to come and face the public. The difference between the Mansakunda and the press conference is the press conference is open only to the journalists, the media houses, to ask questions. A press conference. The Mansakunda is open to the public. Anybody, as long as you reside in the Gambia, you can walk in to any Mansakunda program and ask questions. Now, the Mansakunda was effective in that it highlighted government agendas. So far, we have done about 9 to 10 episodes featuring ministries such as Ministry of Works, Agriculture, Finance, Higher Education, Gender, Health, Youth and Sports. They've all surfaced. And I think the last one we had was the Ministry of Justice. On the 31st, we are having the Ministry of Public Service. Honorable Babukar Bui will come and face the public to explain the reforms or the ongoing reforms within that sector. So the Mansakunda was an innovative initiative, and I thank the ministry, office from the ministry, for supporting the project. But we also thank the president, particularly, for supporting the initiative. We also have some public and other public engagements. For example, the monthly press conferences, as this one. We also have a radio program that we do at the RTS on Thursday between 8 and 9 in the morning. In this program, we open, I'm always there myself, and sometimes I bring a minister who is available. We open the lines, we give updates for 20 minutes, then the 40 minutes we open the lines, and people can call from all over the country, discussing issues, talking about their problems, challenges they are facing, and what they think about the government, and answering relevant questions. We also do that to ensure, as part of our public engagement. But also, we are planning also to do outreach programs. We believe that every Gambian, no matter where you are, you must get access to information. So we are not only going to stay here in the Combos, we will be also organizing outreach town halls across the country as part of our public engagements. Last year also, we presented a bill to the National Assembly called the Data Protection and Privacy Bill for its reading. This is a key step towards improving data governance. Because sometimes, if you observe, if you want to open a new account, whether it's social media or any other account, they give you a long list of conditions, terms and conditions. And they say you have to accept. Sometimes we don't even read those terms and conditions. We just accept. Something has to do with your data. What happens to your data? You've provided your name, your surname, your father's name, all the, what happens to this data? So to protect data integrity, but also to protect citizens' data and citizens' privacy as well. The government is working on a bill, which is Data Protection and Privacy Bill. Second reading currently is at the National Assembly for approval. We also, as a ministry, appointed ATI Information Commissioners. If you could recall, in 2021, the government passed the ATI Act. Now, to implement that act, according to the act, within 18 months, the act must be implemented. And we all know what the act is about. That is, the public can request for information from public officials. So what we did was to appoint the 5 commissioners who are confirmed by the National Assembly. And now we are working on operationalizing the secretariat so that it is becoming a fully functional secretariat. In addition, as a ministry, we also conducted capacity building programs for senior government officials in collaboration with NDI, the National Democratic Institute, with UNESCO and NADCOM, to raise awareness of the ATI Act as well. We also provided capacity building programs for information officers and journalists to strengthen professional communication practices. Now remember, Department of Information Service is an operational arm of the ministry. They recruit and deploy information officers to different ministries as part of our mandate to provide information, timely, accurate, authentic information to the public. We have a lot of information officers that we send to the ministry as information officers. Now we are going to change that name to communications officers. We provided training for them on social media management and other forms of management. We also collaborated with, because one of the vision of the ministry is to ensure that we create a reservoir of professional, ethical, competent journalists in this country. If we don't have that, then we're in trouble. The same dangers that are inherent in having a teacher corps which has incompetent teachers, or a nursing corps with incompetent nurses, the dangers inherent in that situation is the same dangers we will face if we have a journalist, a media corps with incompetent journalists. Information is powerful. It can make or break society. So the people who handle this information must be able to know how to handle such information. That is why we are keen on making sure that we train and provide training opportunities for all journalists across the country, particularly young journalists. That is why we are collaborating with Freedom House to provide internship opportunities for 50, 30 students from the School of Journalism at UTT. The 10 has already started 2-3 weeks ago. They are oriented. Freedom House is funding this in terms of their stipend and transport allowance. And we deploy them to different media houses, some to the ministry and some to the Department of Information Service, for them to start learning the practical aspects of their job. Because it doesn't make sense. See, careers like journalism is not something that will purely theoretical. You can go to university, do 4 years, get a degree in journalism. You cannot even hold a camera. You cannot even do a single interview, and you say, I have a degree in journalism. To learn the practical aspect of their job, to be in the field, to be in the studio, to know how it works, we provide internship for them 3 months. So they will be and having life experience in how to become a journalist, how to hold a mic. I mean, it's sad if you do 4 years of university education and you have a degree, you cannot know even how to hold a mic. And so we want to ensure that we integrate practical elements of learning to journalism, to the education of journalists in this country. So that is why we also work with Freedom House to ensure that we provide internship opportunities for journalists, student journalists who are at the University of the Gambia. Now, at the policy level, we drafted the community media sustainability policy to ensure the viability and the effectiveness of community media. Community media is important because, like we said, we want to ensure that every Gambian has access to information in the language that they understand. Therefore, community media is critical in this aspect. Now, obviously, there are challenges everywhere, and this ministry also has challenges. We have a lot of ideas, a lot of initiatives, but sometimes resources can be an issue, and that is, you all know the budget cannot cater for every sector's needs. We must grapple with that, but we thank our partners, particularly donor partners, who always come to our aid to support us. Now, what are our plans for 2025? First, one of our priorities is to formulate what we call the Information Media and Broadcasting Bill. Remember, in 2022, the ministry was unbundled. Before that, it was called the Ministry of Communication and Infrastructure. When unbundled, we have communication, digital economy, and we have information. Because of that, now, how do we now navigate in using one act? Because of new dynamics, we are working on formulating our own act as a sector, which is called the Information Media and Broadcasting Act, which we will ensure that is passed in 2025. We are also finalizing the ministry's strategic plan 2025 to 2029. As we all know, strategic plans are important. Any institution with no strategic plan is like a big ship navigating in a big ocean without a navigator. It guides you as to what you want to achieve. We will also continue our bi-weekly Mansakunda ministerial town hall, obviously, and also our monthly press conferences to maintain transparency and accessibility to information. We'll increase the frequency of the Gambia Daily News publication. I hope I'm saying the right thing, Mr. Njai. The Gambia Daily comes out once a week. We want to increase the frequency to at least twice to start with, to serve the public. We'll also roll out the first phase. We also plan to roll out the first phase of the infrastructure for the DTT, the Digital Terrestrial Transition, which Mr. Sidika will talk about later. We will, because it's an $11 million project. But if we cannot start across the country at the same time, we can start rolling out and scale up as we go. It's a very important project the Gambia must implement as soon as possible. But Sidikan will tell us more about the project when he speaks. We are also planning, and we are working together with the DG of GRTS and his team to modernize GRTS with alliance with global broadcasting standards. Currently, as we speak, GRTS is working towards digitization. Most of the equipment they buy are digital. I don't want to speak more about that, otherwise I'll be encroaching into someone else's territory. I'll allow DG to come and speak about GRTS. But our plan is to work with them to ensure that GRTS is modernized and it becomes a 21st century state broadcaster. We are also working on reviving the rural community information centers at Mansakonko to enhance access to information in rural areas, so that, like I said, rural communities also get access to information. We are also working towards raising awareness of digital protection and privacy bill and prepare for the operationalization of the agency once the bill is enacted as well. But importantly, we are taking measures to combat misinformation and disinformation through campaigns, and we are starting one this week. We are launching a campaign called Countering Disinformation and Misinformation. It's a 2-week campaign with billboards, videos, with training as well. We'll also do community engagements. We are sending a team of country for 2 weeks to go to each region and have town halls to talk to the citizens about the dangers of misinformation and disinformation and how they can counter it. Because it is particularly now that we are facing elections, there are people who will just sit and just misinform the public. Information that can destroy social cohesion, that can undermine national security. How do you counter it? And we are very good at sharing information that is detrimental, that has no public interest value, that is detrimental either to the nation or to individual citizens. So we are having a campaign on that. But also we are doing a training, and this campaign also is in collaboration with WAVE. WAVE sponsored this for the ministry to do, that is WAVE Gambia, the business entity. We're also providing a training for 50 journalists, fact checkers and editors and media practitioners. This training also is to train them on the dangers of misinformation and how they can counter it. Not only that, there will be the outcomes of these trainings and the colloquium will be 3 key documents. One is we are planning on developing what they call an action plan against disinformation. 2, we are also planning to create what they call the code of practice against disinformation. These are non-legislative documents where all media practitioners and civil society can buy into and sign and make commitments not to distribute disinformation to the public, which is detrimental to social cohesion. But also, we will also try to establish what they call the social media observatory, which will be inclusive, which will include the ministry, DOIS, the media, civil society, fact checkers, to be constantly scanning what is being said online. Anything that they found to be disinformation, which is detrimental, will send a red alert to the public that this is disinformation and disregard it. So we are working on those things, just in our drive to counter disinformation and misinformation. Now we are also beginning to implement the community media sustainability policies to support and empower community-based radios. But also importantly, there are other instruments, legal instruments we want to develop this year, which is the Regulation to the Access Information Act, which is as instructed by the Act. But also, I think we are also working on the government communications policy. Currently, there is no government communications policy. There is no policy that determines how governments communicate among themselves, but also with the public. But also how government is branded, the branding aspect of it. So we are working on one. to ensure we streamline communication within government but also outside of government. We are also working on another document, which is I think that's all those are the documents that we have. So, in closing, we reiterate the Ministry's commitment to transparency, accountability, and innovation in serving the Gambian people. Personally, I think that the commitment of government to serve the public in providing basic services like healthcare, education, infrastructure, the same commitment we have to providing information to the public because it's important, it is vital. We also emphasize that the progress is a shared effort, that the progress we've achieved so far is a shared effort. And the ministry values the role of the media, obviously, and development partners in achieving national goals. I mean, the Ministry of Information would not be able to fulfill its mandate without the support of the media, and that is the fact. If our job is to get information to every citizen, I cannot go everywhere to get that information. So the media is a critical partner, and we value your partnership. But also our stakeholders, donor partners, the government of the Gambia, other ministries, but also our staff at the ministry for doing a very good job and for being committed and dedicated to their work. Now, I think that is it from the ministry at my level, and next I would hand over back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mr. Dr. Ismail Sise, for taking us through the trajectories of positive transformation of our media landscape. Indeed, as we say, we are now in an era of media pluralism, media convergence. People can just, with the speed of light, say whatever they want to say. But the bottom line I would like to add is credibility. And that's why at the spokesperson level, we emphasize on credibility. Whenever there's news, people say, oh, government is losing the narrative, government is slow. I said, no, I always take the analogy between the Bankaba, or when the women are in their riverside laundry. They say all kinds of things. You know, even this insult that we keep hearing, they pick it from our streets. Kids in the street, insulting each other's mothers. So I say social media is a reflection of our character. So it has presented the mirror of our ugly character to ourselves. That's why everybody is panic. You can see that in your bedroom, you think that you're in control of the world. You are sitting down in the street insulting. You go to the market, people insulting each other's parents. So when you say that social media is used for insult, it is basically mirroring our character. So which means that attitudinal change is very important. So all these media platforms are there for us to reflect. They say that, if you're walking and you fall down, you don't have to look at where your forehead touches the ground. You have to look at the pebble you touch. So we always have to look inwards. How do we use this thing? And this credibility is very important. Capacity building, you talk about it from the School of Journalism where I lecture, and I also emphasize on credibility. And the fact checking is very important. If you post something on social media and you think you follow the speed, people can always contact you and say you did it, so you already finished. Your credibility is at zero. And this is very important that we have to add in our work, and we will continue. So the issue of AI, we are also working to ensure artificial intelligence, all this technology, you talk about all this privacy data, the algorithms are taking over. So we need to increase media literacy to ensure that the human agency remains at the forefront of all this information, the myriad of information outflow. These are very crucial. So technology is advancing. Government as an institution is slow. Like I said, we are not competing with social media. And our minister and all those who are in the government information ecosystem, let people say whatever they want to say. This is the Bantaba. But when it's time to make decisions, where do they go? They go to the Alcalo's compound or they go to the Kabilo Kumba. And these are the two narratives. So when you hear something on social media, people are saying, they are just enjoying their freedom of speech. Government is not losing the narrative. We are just respecting the right of citizens. They fought for this democracy. They fought for pluralism. They fought for participating democracy. And this is why the government under the leadership of Arambaro is guiding that process, is mediating that process. But when the needs come, if you need credible information, government is creating the avenues for that engagement. And that's what I want to emphasize on that one. Credibility is number one in whatever you do. Thank you so much. On that note, I would like to invite my brother, Mr. Saidi Khan of DGL. You have 10 minutes to take us through the transformative agenda of your institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, the Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, my colleague, Head of Institutions, the rest of my colleagues, all of you are my colleagues. We were behind the mics since October of 1995. Technicians, we deal with machines, but we all work within the same ecosystem of the media for the past, let's say, 30 years. Now, little is known about the institution that we are working for, the Digital Gambia Limited. I'm going to say a bit about the Digital Gambia Limited. Digital Gambia Limited was established by the government of the Gambia in 2018 to be responsible for the migration process from analog television to digital television. This all came about as a result of an international agreement way back in 2006 when all the member countries of the ITU agreed to migrate from analog television transmission to digital television transmission. This is discussed at the ITU level. The aim of it is to efficiently and effectively manage the natural frequency spectrum. The Gambia was a signatory to it, and the recommendations were made at the very ITU meeting in 2006 to unbundle state
the institutions that are collecting this revenue through the serialization. If that is not achieved, it will be technically impossible for government to be able to know exactly the revenue that is losing. And this is a key mandate of the Gambia Printing Corporation. And as management, since we came, we want to ensure, and we are doing everything possible to ensure that there is proper record and proper serialization of these revenue materials. And this is the reason why most of the time if national audit has to go for any audit in the public institutions, they first start with Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation for us to give them the revenue materials that we have supplied to those institutions as a matter of source for them to be able to perform their auditing properly. It is important to highlight this because obviously government did it for a reason. And it is important that public institutions also are compliant with this because this is an act of parliament which came into effect in 2006 when the corporation, when this matter took place. Another very important function or mandate of the Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation, like I said earlier on, is the provision of teaching and learning materials to institutions. We all know the importance of teaching and learning materials, especially in the form of textbooks. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier on, for the time I have been in GPBC, almost about 15 years now, and 13 years as the MD, we have been having series of collaborations with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to ensure that this key mandate is actually achieved. Unfortunately, it wasn't. We couldn't achieve until 2023, when finally we have signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education in collaboration with the Gambia Writers Association, as well as the conferences of principals of senior, junior, and upper basic schools, for GPPC to start printing and publishing textbooks for schools. And I'm happy to announce here that GPPC has successfully delivered on that mandate in 2023, some few months ago. Most of the media houses were present when we were doing those distributions. The corporation was given a contract to provide textbooks for senior secondary schools, almost about 133,000 textbooks, for all areas, English, mathematics, sciences, the arts, and then we have successfully delivered it. Currently, we are working with the ministry to do the second batch of the contract, which has to be, which is the printing of the same textbooks for the senior secondary schools for 2024-2025 academic year. this is a very major achievement because it changed the GPC in all funds in terms of revenue, because this contract was almost about a $58 million a contract with the government of the Gambia, and therefore has boosted the performance of GPPC significantly. And we want to thank the government of the day through the Honorable Minister for definitely that achievement. And I think that is the right decision because the GPPC is 100% owned by the government of the Gambia, and the stakeholder, it is the Gambian people who owns it. So at least for all the countries that I visit most of the time, all their teaching and learning materials are printed by their national institutions. So it is good that we now, so thank you very much, Honorable, we want that extension to Honorable the President. GPPC, like I said, for all public institutions, in order for us to be able to effectively do this mandate, it is important that we do capacity building to be able to ensure that the human resources base of the institute are in that position to be able to carry those objectives in a manner that is desirable. And the corporation has, for some time now, trained so many senior officers who are handling various departments. One key area is publishing, because in this country, I can't remember if there is anybody who has a master's degree in publishing, but recently through the active collaboration with the board of GPPC, we sent one Mr. Sisao, who is currently sitting down here for master's in publishing in Malaysia, and he has successfully completed that program and back to head that particular department. You can say he's almost one of the, if there is few people who are publishing qualification in this area. And this will be able to help the people in this country, both the teachers, the media, and even the private citizens, for them to be able to publish. That's what we now want to encourage. We want to encourage people, Gambian people, to write, so that when they write, we are able to publish their books. And through this publication of these books, our history will remain, our cultures will remain. And then we'll be dealing with books that are authored and written by our Gambians, like we are currently reading books from Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and stuff. So currently, that's a very key issue that the corporation is focusing on. Unfortunately, since its inception, the corporation had never been directing itself towards that. But later we realized that printing is not the only objective, it's not the only task given to GPPC, but publishing is very key, and we decided to reactivate that department, and it's full functional. So at the moment, that is how it is. And we also want to make sure that the processes and procedures are also in place to make sure there is security for the revenue materials. We want to ensure that government materials landed in the right hands and not in the wrong hands. This has resulted to a good performance in terms of resources, in terms of finance, like I said. For this year, GPPC has actually kind of meets its target, its revenue target from the second quarter as a result of this particular contract. So we are happy that this is ongoing. So I think basically that is the Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As I was mentioning, we need knowledge production. Already we have our own statutory entity to publish our memoir, Right, Baby, Right. Donald Trump said, well, drill, baby, drill. I say, right, baby, right. We need to write our stories. Thank you so much for a beautiful rendition. Once again, MDCC, GM Serika, and Honorable Minister. The floor is now open for questions. Sorry, familiarity, familiarity. Yes. We invite our home, just being my brother. Let's say so much for this.
Good morning, and you'll be charged for forgetting GRTS. Honorable Minister, good morning. Yes, of the same ministry, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, the Deputy Permanent Secretary, my colleagues MDs, and my other colleagues down here, your colleagues, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And I request to repeat before we go, my brother, Mr. Santano, you have to be charged for forgetting, huh? Okay, no worries, that's okay. Okay, thank you. Before we go, let's start with the mandate of GRTS. GRTS is a public institution mandated to inform, entertain, at the same time educate the public of this country. To give you some context, some 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we were the only ones around here. Television my name. Not many people have access to other channels apart from RTS, Senegal, satellite channels were not accessible to many other people. It was just for the elite. That being the case, a man running alone, as they say in Africa, always thinks he is the fastest. Now, the field is crowded. Very, very crowded. In the Gambia here, we have many options. Outside the Gambia, many options. What does that mean to GRTS? It means GRTS has to recalculate its mandate, re-strategize, reposition itself to be able to compete. And I say compete, not compete commercial, but compete for the attention of the public. People are busy, they don't have time. How can you encourage them to spend 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes with you? You must be doing something that is worth doing, and you must be doing something that they are interested in. As they say, nothing is interesting if you are not interested. Someone can be watching football, I say, oh, this is a nice game. Somebody sitting next to you say, oh, you are wasting your time. So interest is the basics of engagement. GRTS, we are working on getting things right. As I said, the field is crowded, we have to reposition ourselves. And how do we do that? We said now we have to focus on two things. Building our human resources. When we say building, we mean training them, equipping them, and their welfare and their professional development. At the same time, changing attitude to work. The public sector in this country and many other countries, I think needs to double up. You can do anything. You can have PhD, you can have whatever, but there is one thing that you need to make this country and other countries grow. That is commitment to work, patriotism. An emperor once said, I don't need scholars. All I need is patriotic citizens. And I think it's right. When you have patriots, you can move mountains. GRTS, we have to change the narrative, encourage people, instill in them commitment to work, take care of their welfare, equip them and develop them professionally. The next line is equipment. The broadcasting world or landscape has changed tremendously. What was the best some 10, 20 years ago is now obsolete. We need modern equipment to be able to do things in a modern way that can be sustainable at the same time attractive. Digital Gambia is part of that project, trying to modernize and, as Mr. Sirikan has explained, make GRTS more digital. And in so doing, we've taken some steps. Training of personnel. We train almost all the sectors in GRTS, all the departments. People have been trained. And we have this gentleman understanding with the Minister of Higher Education to train our people up to BA level, degree level. This is important because when you improve people's professional development, you get the best out of them. The other thing that we did, we following GRTS, any function that the head of state is attending, we cover it live. Even if it is up-country, where internet is a challenge or other logistics are a challenge. This was not the case some 2-3 years ago. But we reposition ourselves, reorganize ourselves, and see to it that we have to do this thing. Because people must have information, as the information minister said. When people don't have information, they create their own. That's what brings these rumors and all those things. So we try to make GRTS to reach everybody and everybody to reach GRTS. The other step that we did, basic as it may seem, Radio Gambia, as it is known, that is GRTS radio, used to be called Radio Combo when we are young. Why? Because reception is much better only around the Combo. Our country has always been a challenge. I'm happy to inform you, as we are speaking, GRTS radio or Radio Gambia is on satellite for the first time ever. It means you can get GRTS wherever you are. Whether you are in the Gambia here or you're outside, you can get GRTS. And we're also working on an app. The modern generation or younger people prefer to watch or to listen using their telephones. How best can we reach them? We said, let's develop an app. That work is in progress, and Allah willing, in the near future, or maybe in the next few months, that one will be done. And anybody can download the app and be able to listen or watch GRTS programs. How is this important, or why is this important? As I say, basic, but very, very important, because it will keep people engaged with the national broadcaster. It will be even interactive. You can comment, you can do whatever, and you'll know how best to engage you and how best to share information with you. The other thing, we're trying to reach all corners. We said, let's localize GRTS. The head office is here. We have another branch in Pasir. But can we have GRTS in all the regions? Can we localize it? Like, for example, if you have GRTS in Biam or Fodi or in Kanila or in Pasir or whatever, instead of relaying the main programs that are happening at Mile 7 here, they can do their own local thing. They can domesticate, they do their own local programming. In so doing, we said we're going to do a pilot project in Mansa Kongo. We opened a radio in Mansa Kongo, and that process is ongoing. We are the tail end. If we open the GRTS station in Mansa Kongo, that will be the first time that has been done since in the 1970s when GRTS was opened. So that's a step towards getting GRTS closer to the people. The other aspect I said, technology, we need to improve, we need to modernize. GRTS studios of Mile 7, that is the radio, were opened in 1971, when some people in this hall were not here. That's a long time ago. Since then, nothing substantial was done to modernize that place. We are happy to report to you, we've modernized that place. One of the studios, we've modernized it to make it an audio-visual studio. You can report that it is highly technical, state-of-the-art, and one of the best. So that's an achievement that we think can really help GRTS move forward. Not only technology, you get the equipment, if you don't get the programming or you don't get other things right, nothing would work. So we're trying to get the programming right, trying to get everybody involved. Recently, you just know, we advertise in the newspapers for people to send in program ideas. To see who has the best ideas, independent producers, everybody's welcome. Because we believe GRTS belong to everybody. We may be the ones opportune to be working there at this period of time, but it doesn't mean we own. And ideas can come from anywhere. So we said, let's open it up. Whoever has ideas, let them bring the idea, we look at it, work together, and see. And we are happy to report that many people responded. We'll discuss and see. This is necessary to create interaction. Let people feel they own the station, they own the institution, they are part of it, so that whatever is coming out of it, they'll see it as their own, and they will own it up. So that is one of the projects that is ongoing. You go to Pasir, as I said, in the 70s, a radio station was opened there. We are trying to go further. We are working on opening a television station in Pasir. Again, the same thing, trying to get the station closer to the people. Before doing that, people who know Pasir, who know Radio Pasir, it's a massive land. But then, before, it was just an open space. Anybody can come and enter, nothing is secure. So people even use some part of it as a dump site. Nothing you can do with it because you are here. Somebody can dump something maybe 500 meters away from you at night or whatever, you wouldn't know. It was not in the best of its state. It shouldn't be that way. When you came in recently, we said we have to change the situation. Credit to many others who did try to do it, but unfortunately they couldn't do it. Why? Because of what somebody mentioned here. Our biggest challenge, I think that's true for all of us here, is income, resources. That's our challenge. But then, it shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do. Sometimes you have to think out of the box. And we did that. We said, okay, we don't have the money to do this on our own. Let's partner with others. We work with the armed forces, the chief of staff,
We explained to him what we wanted to do, and he got on board. He said he will support us, he will give us his technical team, the engineering team of the military. We buy the equipment and they do the job for us, and they did it. Today, if you go to Basse, it is not the way it was 2, 3 years or 30 years ago. We've secured the place. And besides securing the place, we've made it safer, more attractive, and more conducive to the people working there. And the next step in that evolution is to have a television substation down there, wherein theaters will still, as I said, get closer to everybody. Another area I mentioned, finance is our challenge. It has been a challenge for so long, but we've done something about it. Maybe I shouldn't say it here. If I do, the Minister of Information will not fight for more funds for GRTS. But it's good for the public to know. GRTS has been living on overdraft. Like Mo is here, he's been with GRTS for 1 million years. You can attest to that. The finance director is here. There are many people here who know GRTS. That story is no more. GRTS overdraft low. No overdraft. To give you basic example, 1 by 10, you have to pay 1 by 10. Before we didn't have the money, what we do is we go to the banks, take loan, or to these microfinance agencies, we take loan. And we pay interest on that. That has stopped. Now we pay 1 by 10, 20 or 30 days before the day. To stabilize our income. Recently we bought a brand new generator, costing us millions of dollars. The generator we had was here, as I understand, 2004 or thereabouts. It outlived its purpose a long time ago. Every year you'll see we want to replace it, we'll try, no funds to do that. This year we did it, we changed it. We brought a modern state-of-the-art generator. A basic thing that should not be used, but it has to be used because of the circumstances. When electricity goes down, theaters has to go down, and that's not good for us. Theaters shouldn't go down even when electricity goes down. So we have 2 backup systems now. We have a backup system that uses inverters and batteries. When electricity is down, theaters will not go down for some minutes. Now a generator is added, it means it will never go down, unless if there is a serious technical glitch, which we pray shall not happen. So we are moving forward. Still, the challenges are enormous. As I said, technical-wise, the outside broadcasting band we are using, you'll be amazed if I tell you when it was purchased. If I say 10 years ago, that's a long time. 20 years ago, that's a long time. It was purchased in 1995 or 1996. So March, maybe you confirm. 96? 96. I was in school in 96. It's the same outside broadcasting band that we are using. That's a major challenge, but discussions are ongoing with the Honorable Minister. I must say the Honorable Minister is very, very concerned and very, very, what should I say, responsive. Whatever idea we bring to it, he takes it up. In fact, he owns it. We are working with him, working with the government to see how best we can replace that one. Because if you look at our peers in the neighboring countries, these are countries that are of the same status with us. They are all LDC, least development countries, least developed countries. But then, when you visit them, you see what they have. When you come back here, you see what we have. You realize we are not even 0% near to what we need to be a public broadcaster. But, to the dedication of the team, of the staff, we have very, very, very hard-working people. People who can do magic. People who work with this obsolete equipment, and they still produce results. They produce results. If I didn't tell you this, you wouldn't know our outside broadcasting was born in 1995-96. They produce results. Because we keep modernizing it, bringing some equipment, fixing it, but still we need a holistic system. So I must commend the staff. We have people who are doing very well. The reverse is also true. We have people who have to carry along, because people in all institutions. But the staff are commendable. They do magic. Sometimes you criticize, yes, you don't this, you don't this, you don't do this, you don't have this. But you have to look, people cannot give what they don't have. It's not possible. You only give what you have. If you don't give me the equipment, if I'm the soldier, best trained, I am this and this and that, I don't have a gun. If I go to battle, I'll be the first one to be captured. So people need to be well equipped, and GRTS The government is doing its best. The OIC, the government did very well for the OIC. We must commend the Honorable Minister, the Chief of Staff, and the credit goes to the Head of State, His Excellency President Adam Barrow. He stood for us very well. Formally, GRTS, two or three camera men have to say a camera, not many cameras, since day one. As I was speaking to you today, every camera passing in GRTS has your own camera. For the first time, it has never happened. We bought, if I could remember, 20 or 20-something new cameras. So that side has been taken care of thanks to the government. During the IC, they supported us very well. We have what we call a data center. If you go to established media houses, what they do is, when you bring in your roses or whatever, you send it somewhere, and the editors will pick it from there. GRTS, for the past 30 years, we've been operating a different system, manual system. You come, do this for me, do this for me. Not convenient, not modern, not established. That has changed too. Due to the funds we got from OIC, we have a very solid data center. Everything is centralized in one place. You don't need to run and hustle. You can do your things online and get it done fast and quick. So again, we commend the government for that. They've lifted us up. If you look at our pictures on television, they are HD quality. Our pictures are HD quality. That all came after the OIC. We revamp our studios. Though we still have more work to do, that will come to. We have a lot of work to do, but we've gone a step far. As the Chinese would say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. When you take a step, you are sure you'll go somewhere. But Mali said the same. He said, you will never finish if you don't start. We have started a long time ago, and we are gaining speed. GRTS again, as a public broadcaster, cannot be successful in what it does without the patronage of the citizens. How would the citizens patronage GRTS? It has to be two ways. One, we are responsible, we the management and staff of GRTS. We have to come with something interesting, something captivating that is worth people's time. Two, the public too must realize that we are them. It is called the Gambia Radio and Television Service. You must patronize your own, you must love your own. If you don't love your own, you keep watching or listening to others, your own will never be the best. The Olaf said, Jambar Amut, Kuni Jambar, Jambar. The people we have been with, CNN, TVC and others, they do what they do, fine, very well. But if their people didn't patronize them, they wouldn't reach the level they reach. We have to realize that we own these institutions, we own the programs that are coming. They are here towards our entertainment, development, or whatever. Let's patronize GRTS. Sometimes we hear people say, GRTS, people are doing well. But sometimes we hear, GRTS, much more than say than GRTS. You don't say that GRTS, you say than something else. So far, and the board and take us into Bologna. So you have to take charge. You have to love this country. You have to, the media is an agent of socialization. The media socializes you for us. What you see, what you hear, goes a long way in developing your character. And as a socialization agent, it is better you get closer to something that is similar to your culture or is a reflection of your culture rather than other things. The media reflects or it leads. How does it reflect? As Sankano was saying, social media is a reflection of us. What we do here, our gossip or whatever, that's what we pour there. Very true. It's a reflection of us. The reverse can also be true. The media can also try to be a leader of society, leading society to another dimension. This society is good and insulting, good and good. Okay, can we change the narrative? Let's encourage them to be doing the opposite. Like if you look at our this channel, some of them, every time they have TV break or interval, dancing, not bad, very good. You go to other cultures, when they have breaks, they bring something educative, documentaries or things that can teach you something. We need to go towards that level. Things that people can learn, things that can show us to be better people. And our languages as well. As I say, I always argue this thing, even when before I became DJ at JRTS. I say, it's unfortunate we couldn't change it, that's the reality, but we would have been much better this way. We use our languages, far more than we use the English language. Why? There is no Tubab ethnic group in this country. We do the news in English, and after we translate it to our people, in all of Mandinka or whatever, why don't we do it in our language, and later we translate it to the Dubai? I understand English is the official language of this country, so there's nothing we can do with that. But I'm just trying to tell you the importance of using our languages. And JRTS, we are trying to do that. Now what we encourage is, whatever programs we do, we encourage you to use the local language. Let people hear people speaking their own languages. Let them hear all of it. Let them hear Manjago, let them hear whatever. Then they will own the programming. But as I said, socialization, because we've been socialized to think that anyone who speaks better English is better or maybe more sophisticated, when it's not the case. It's just a medium of instruction and a medium of communication. You go to Japan and you go to China, you meet people who are very good at what they do. They cannot speak English, they cannot speak French. And I've done my research, maybe somebody can challenge me. I've not seen any developed country in the world where the medium of instruction is in another language that is not there. I haven't seen any. England, they use English. Italy, they use Italian. China, they use Mandarin. Japan, Japanese. Any country that is classified as a developed nation, they read and write in their own language. Because you understand your own language better than any other. The people we call stupid, the people we call they are not smart. They are not smart in the other person's language. When they are using their own language, oh, they are fantastic. They are very, very fantastic. There is this joke in the olden days, Jawara's time, in Parliament, some people were not very good at English language. They say, in Parliament they wouldn't say anything, or if they would say something, they wouldn't express them very well. When they come out, I heard they will say, ni manika come over jam, definitely jam. So you see, it means they have the idea, but how would they be able to express it? They could not because of the language barrier. The other basic things, going back to basic skills, still for you to understand the context of the JRTS. Basic things like King Fahad Mosque, eat prayers, corridor. You always do live for radio, but you've never been able to do live television until some few years ago. Because of just basic challenges. It tells you how the state of JRTS, the help it needs. But when we came, we were able to overcome that. Now we do that one live. So it means we have basic structural weaknesses that we need to address. And they can be addressed in many ways, resource-wise, as I said, professional training, as I said, and attitude to work as well. This attitude to work, wherever I go, I say it, because I've been a Pan-African since my school days, and I believe it's long overdue, or it's past the time that we put the blame on outsiders for our problems. Our problems are our problems. We know our problems. Let's fix them. We keep blaming the West. Yes, they contributed, but they've gone home. They left us here. We still couldn't do our best. All of us want to migrate and go and live there. And when we go there for the next 10 years, we'll destroy the place. If they come here, they'll build again because of attitude. I asked one professor, who divided Africa? He said, Europeans. I said, okay, good. He said, but they've gone a long time ago. If we are unhappy with their divisions, let's unite. Why can't we? They created Senegal, they created Gambia, they created Kenya, but they've gone. And we still blame them? No. Just in your own house, you have 3 or 4 brothers. You say the same thing. Somebody came and divided and said, okay, you be on your own, be on your own. Okay, you couldn't do anything about it. You agreed. Reluctantly. The person left died 2 years or 3 years ago. These people are still divided. You cannot come together. And you still blame that person. He created the division. Don't come back if you are unhappy with the division. But we don't. We cherish these divisions. Only the Gambia will become Gambia to the Gambia. People in Kenya will become Kenya. Even for us to come together to trade is a problem. For us to say yes is a problem. For us to cross borders is a problem. We need to look at those things. It might be side, but it's not a side. I'm just telling you because media and communication engulfs everything. Everything. Freedom of speech, as my brother said, the Honorable Minister, this government has given people freedom of speech. People are free to say whatever. But then, you are free to say what you want to say. But do not be free to say what will harm and hurt other people. That is not part of freedom of speech. And freedom of speech is not a foreign reality here. It's something that has been here for a long time. In the olden days of 200 years ago, or in the African system, The griots were given freedom of speech. They were the journalists. They can say whatever they want to the king or whoever. Others could not do so. I know my time is run short, but then this is what we have for you. Maybe question time we'll be ready to take questions. I came here with my directors, they are all here. I commend them again. They are ready to take on your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, DGC. It's quite interesting to see. To your credit and to your team, I'm observing an interesting trend here. Some of your staff are my students at the School of Journalism in UTG. The trend that DRTS is now attracting people from other media houses. When I was a young staff growing up and observing, it has been the other way around. The attrition rate in DRTS was very high. And thanks to your management approach, abroad and civil abroad, when you are doing your master's, you are communicating. So that one is really an example that you survive. In this you are facing a lot of competition, but you are attractive. So attracting other people from media houses, it means that the human resource agenda is working. And as you said, another thing is I'm a fan of history, your archives. You are custodians of our audiovisual memory. You inherited the film unit. You have written to talk about it in Gambia in 1971. And that aspect is missing, and I'm sure that's what puts digitizing your archives, make them available. Some of my students on their final year, they want to do research, but they say they're having challenging accessing your archives. I think whatever you are doing, this is something that has to, our memory should be there. And for now, I think it's well preserved. We don't want the situation when there's going to be fire outbreak, we've lost our memory. What happened in the great Alexandria, it took us to take a backward because our ancestral archives were destroyed. So and this is a challenge, and this is something that I believe you should prioritize in your reform agenda. And now I think I've not left anyone behind before I apologize again. So everyone is covered, everyone got enough time to update the public. Now the floor is open for questions and answers. As usual, your name, your media organization, feel free to ask in all national languages. Like I said, we need to be proud of our native languages. Yeah? I think the mics are on, so you can just switch it on and answer. Name, media organization, and the question to whom it's being addressed. Good? Sorry. Yeah, I already mentioned. To whom the question is addressed.
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Alexander, a reporter from the Standard newspaper. My question is for the Managing Director of GPPC, Mr. Cisse. So we understand that the GPPC have not been audited for the past 3 years, and the 2021 accounts are yet to be finalized. Recently, the new board chairman requested for a forensic audit amidst alleged gross financial mismanagement, repeated violation of GPPA procurement rules, and serious crippling governance issues affecting the corporation. My question is, what is your response to the allegation that you deliberately misled the former works minister during the inauguration of 50 million Bilomatic exercise book printing machine to tell the whole country that with the machine you can generate between 700,000 to 1 million revenue every year, when in actual fact you are now struggling to even generate revenues of 80 million. Is it true that the machines were purchased as second hand and have been developing serious technical